Okay guys, so I'm going to finally do a video of how I put a Suburban furnace in this minivan. Can't really see much here. Well, what you can see is there's a propane tank in here. Anyway, keep that zipped up. And there is a, by the way, in the bottom of the bag, there's a hole that I drilled through there to let air flow just in case the propane tank did leak. And that hose goes down into this cabinet here, which you can't really see. And that's where the furnace is. Now, I'm not going to take that apart right now, but I will show you the videos that I took back in the summer. Now, if I go inside here, with this walled off area here, turn the light on here. Okay, that's where the air gets sucked in, and this is where the air gets blown out. And this is a thermostat that controls it, but the only thing is if it gets below freezing, this thing gets locked out and the thermostat won't turn it on, so I have to flip this bypass switch, which will make the air start flowing just until it gets warm enough in here to where it gets above freezing. Then I can turn that switch off and then turn the thermostat on, and then just let the thermostat control things. And this is where the air gets blown out, and the air kind of blows pretty strong through there actually. The air actually does get pretty hot once it starts getting heated up. And actually, besides this being a good thing for heating up the van, it's also a good thing. You can put I put like some socks in here, just had them hung down and stuff like that. And then it's really good for drying stuff too, so it's kind of like a little mini dryer too in a sense too. So before I show you all the spliced together footage from the summer and early fall where I put this whole thing together, let me just do a little bit of a quick drawing here on paint just so you know what I was trying to accomplish. To keep this video from being too long, I guess I'm not going to really get into why use a forced air furnace like I have here, but I just want to say though but why I put it in the position that it did. Well, basically I put it in the place I did because that was basically the only place I could get it to fit. I had to really think about it a lot to try to figure out how to get that to fit in there, and then to get that propane tank in there, and to still keep my wall system going. These are all insulated walls here, kind of like purple for insulation. Okay. Anyway, but it's these 4 walls. This is like you're looking down. Okay. And then I had to put the furnace kind of like outside of the zone, out of the main cabin zone here. Ideally, it would be better if I could have actually put it inside this zone instead. Then it would have been, any excess heat that comes off of it would go into the zone and so forth. But I couldn't really, there wasn't any way to do that, so I did the next best thing. Now this is a side view, so I had to put the furnace out here, pipes coming down here. It is just put kind of a insulated box here around here, so that and then I also insulated like the outside of this chimney thing here, kind of in a sense. And then there's no insulation here, so in a sense it kind of, at least thermodynamically speaking, it kind of keeps this furnace inside this zone here in a sense. And plus, well, there's a hole here and a hole here, so actually, you could really say it basically is. I could have made like the wall go all the way back here instead, then it would have kept it inside that same zone as well. But I didn't want to really I didn't want to increase the size of the zone more than I had to, and then make it less, where I'd have a bigger area to have to heat up. But I also want to keep this area for some storage in here too. You'll see in the video that I put kind of like a plate in this area to and that was also to try to keep the cold from escaping outside this way. I mean, there's nothing you can do about these metal pipes. I mean, there's going to be some heat loss through there, but at least it kept having this plate here with that fiberglass. That was also to keep the heat from flowing out of the thing. So basically, the whole idea of this box was to provide a place to put this furnace and then kind of keep the heat from it inside here, inside this cabin, was the basic ideas behind it. So now I can show how I actually did it. Okay, so I got this back wall here made of plywood, and anyway, and basically, and then right now I'm working on this. This is a Suburban furnace. It's an RV furnace. I think is it an NT20 or is it an 18? I'll have to look that up later. Anyway, so it's really meant for an RV, but I did see one place where somebody did actually use it in a minivan before, but it's it's kind of big, but the reason I got this is it was the smallest one I could find, and also the cheapest one, because I found it for like $200 on eBay or $230 or something. That's a vented heater, and also with a thermostat too. And so I had to, but to make this work in this van, I had to do some kind of weird stuff that maybe wasn't usually done. So, like for instance, I have these flexible exhaust tubes, because the factory way that they want you to do is actually have it right against the wall and have these little short tubes that go out, but I didn't want to have holes going out the side of my van. I'd rather have it like down here for both stealth and also at least not have tearing up the actual body of the vehicle, even if I'm tearing up so much other stuff. And then so this is this flexible exhaust pipe, and I kind of built like a little frame with conduit just to kind of like, that was just to make it to where when I bent the pipes down that it wasn't going to break the plastic intake tube there. Anyway, so that was just to kind of protect it, because I knew I'd have to be fiddling around a little bit. And then that goes under here, and then okay, and then they're down here like this right now, and looks a little rough at the moment, but I'm going to do something like put some kind of plate, basically cut some pieces of sheet metal to kind of put around and screw on there, and put like maybe something like some JB Weld or something in from the combustion area through the heat exchanger. And then what I got here is these pipes hanging down here. Okay, so let's see. You can see that there. Okay, actually I need to put like a something in this one too, just to keep stuff from getting up in there. But so that'll be something actually that'll be kind of, I'll have to remember whenever I get on the road to have something to block these up, and just remember to take it out whenever okay, so this is the air intake. It sucks the air, it goes inside into the combustion chamber, and then this is where the hot air comes out, and this actually gets pretty hot. I mean, and so what I did here in this area here is see that there is I just kind of cut that kind of rough, because it was kind of hard to, I couldn't really cut like a perfect circular thing to push those things through, so I just kind of cut a pretty big square and then got them through there. And then once I got these pipes through here, this is like this, by the way, this is this like flexible exhaust pipe. What I did is then I just kind of cut these pieces of sheet metal the best I could. It was kind of rough, and kind of screwed them in around there, and then I filled all the crevices and everything with JB Weld. Now I had to use a lot of JB Weld just because I didn't make a very good fit, so I had to like fill in some pretty big gaps, which wasn't a good. Probably going to do a little more JB Weld a little later just to make sure. But anyway, so that should keep the possibility of like any kind of the gas from here from somehow getting back into the van. They have this thing have it be able to shoot the air into the cabin, because the way they imagine it is just having it be right in the middle of the this device being right in the middle of the cabin, just sitting against some wall, and then what it would do is it would suck the air through here, and then the heat would come out there, and it would just kind of recirculate in the thing. But since I have to have it back here, and this is going to be all foam here on any of these exposed walls, so I need some way to kind of pump the heat in there. And then also what I want to do is have this basically be insulated, so it's basically, so if you think about that area over there in the inside being like a zone, so I want to have it basically, this thing is going to basically be, thermodynamically speaking, in that zone, because it'll be kind of like a foam thing that goes around here, and then there'll be like a cutout thing here, and then it'll be kind of a foam, wood and foam, insulated thing going across here. So that'll be, and then it'll be like an opening to suck the air in from there, and then this is going to be on this side away for the air. This is actually a little heating duct that I'm making kind of with this 2x4, and I'm having it so, and this is going to be blocked off to I haven't exactly figured out how I'm going to block off that area, but this is all going to be blocked off to where this is all like enclosed, to where the only place that air can flow is up through here, and then into the van there, into the main cabin. Okay, I'm coating this stuff with this cement board, which you can see I kind of it was kind of chipping apart, but I think I mostly managed to cover these surfaces with this cement board, and which I also have like down here as well. And then I'm going to have this piece in a minute. It's going to be like a cross here. I have to cut it a little bit better, but it's going to be a cross there, this piece. And I was doing it because this cement board is like, it's non-flammable, and so I figured, so I have it like, in reality, the case of this thing, I tested it out before, and it really, the outside case really doesn't get hot at all, but I figured, okay, yeah, but just just for good measure, might as well have it be surrounded by non-flammable material. Anyway, so that's going to be a duct here, and then eventually this will be surrounded by foam. Okay, so now I got that piece on there. Oh, nice. More or less. Kind of went crazy putting a lot of screws because I was having a hard time getting it to lay down flat, but I guess we'll put some kind of caulking on it later on to just make sure, because obviously this needs to be completely airtight for it to work. This piece of conduit was already here. It's actually part of the frame of like where the propane tank's going to be, but there's going to be plenty of, you know, like a firewall like between them, so it's not like, you know, not like probably the furnace could probably do really anything to that anyway. And then, but then I just put this piece of conduit because this is going to basically be a way that I'm going to kind of block this off, block this off, block this, have some kind of plate that goes on here, which I want to be kind of easy to take off, and maybe this one too, so in case I need to work on this part, I want to have like 2 plates here that are going to be, have the, it's going to be like a wedge of like plywood, the concrete board on the inside, and then foam on the outside. So long story short is I put that piece of conduit there, and I still had a bunch of conduit around from my ill-fated thing where I spent about the whole last winter trying to build this homemade ice boat that, except it had wheels, so it was really more of like a land, what do they call those? A land sailor, okay, whatever it's called. Anyway, so okay, so got it up, at least hasn't tipped over, that's good, but it's barely moving. I think I gotta do something with those wheels. So, yeah. Thing totally didn't work, and then at some point I didn't want to have to load all the stuff back in here and stuff like that. By that point I was already kind of working on the van, so that kind of shows how long that's been. And then anyway, so then I kind of just went out there with the angle grinder and kind of mostly pretty much cut it up. So anyway. Okay, so here's this plate I put here and then shoved fiberglass in there, in that hollow there spot there, and there's a hollow spot where those things go into anyway. And gonna put some other plates, put another plate on top and a few other plates to kind of close some of those gaps up, small enough to where then I can seal it up with like JB Weld, you know, any remaining air gap. And then the main purpose of that being to keep from losing heat through the box that contains the furnace and into the outside. Okay, so what you'll notice here is there's this big old box here with these hinges, and then there's this other one here that's also got hinges on it. And anyway, and then you can see I've put this caulking here, which is actually the special fireproof caulking. So anyway, but I'll explain that in a second. And it looks kind of sloppy, but you know, but this is gonna mostly all be covered with foam anyway. And then you get these wires coming out of it, which is from the furnace that's inside there. And then, so anyway, I need to still kind of make this thing more airtight, and I guess even after later on it'll still be a thing to kind of work on. I'm not going to have it, of course I could always put some kind of tape over there most of the time on these hinges, because the reason I made these hinges was just to have like kind of like an access panel. So let's just look inside here. Okay, I'm going to have to come up with something better for a handle later than just a screw here. Okay. All right. See there, that's a Suburban furnace in there, and this is also the front of the Suburban furnace here. So the way this is going to work is actually, let me go around the back here. So this back part here is going to be like all sealed up. I mean, hopefully it's going to be real airtight, you know, and then that's where it sucks in the air for the furnace, as far as like the air as far as it goes through the room and stuff, not the combustion flow. That's a different thing. But anyway, and then it blows up front, so hopefully this is going to be good enough to where it'll just flow. But once this is closed, the only place that it's going to be sucking air out of is through opening right here. Anyway, so that's what it's going to do. So it's going to suck air through there, and then it's going to that thing's gonna be blowing air and it's gonna be coming through the ceiling, so it's gonna be kind of creating like a circulation. So you can see I made this thing into, it kind of looks like a chimney, but basically it's like a duct. So basically the idea was on the inside here, I put this concrete board, and so the idea was just to have like on the inside nothing that was flammable for this compartment that's surrounding the furnace. Not that it really, I mean, I don't think it probably gets really hot enough to actually light something on fire, but it's kind of like safe, better safe than sorry. And then, because really that case pretty much just stays, from what I could tell, pretty much stays pretty cool, you know. So anyway, and then in here now, this is where I'm going to have the propane tank. Okay, so I used an old sleeping bag here. Because what I wanted to do is I wanted to build like a box around it, and then you know, on all sides. But the problem is the propane tank gets so close to the wall here that you can't really, I wasn't really able to come up with the way. So at least, I mean, this is going to be covered with foam, and then there's foam on this side, and so at least on a couple sides there's foam, and then there'll be this. So this bag zips up, and then the propane tank goes inside here, and so what that should do is, you know, pretty much keep, that'll be fairly airtight, you know. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have like a pipe that comes up here that goes like underneath to like let air in here. So the idea is to let air kind of from the outside circulate in here and keep it, any chance of propane building up, but then having this thing zipped up so it doesn't mix with the outside. So yeah, that's about it for now. So see you later.